Today's episode of Ham Radio 2.0 is brought to you by Gifts for Hams. Find their website at www.gifts4hams.com. Get your call sign or club logo engraved on virtually anything you want. Specializing in ham radio related gift ideas, Gifts for Hams is your one-stop shop for lighted call sign displays, coffee mugs, coasters, drinking glasses, smartphone cases, and so much, much more. Laser engraving and etching to show off your ham radio call sign or club. Shop gifts4hams.com and tell them that Ham Radio 2.0 sent you.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I am Bradley Roof here in Taylorsville, Indiana, and you are watching the Ham Radio 2.0 podcast, live from the Ham Shack and YouTube. So sit back, relax, and enjoy.
There's nothing like Christmas ale in February. And today, the day that I recorded this intro that you're watching right now, was actually about 70 degrees outside. So there's nothing like Christmas ale in February in Texas when it's 70 degrees outside. But that is what that is, and since I like Christmas ale, especially this St. Arnold stuff, right here, I found this in the store, I don't know, a week ago, something like that. That's my last one. There was a 4-pack. And I thought, yes, I will drink that. I don't care if it's not Christmas. Hey guys, welcome to Ham Radio 2.0, live from the Ham Shack. My name's Jason. I'm KC5HWB. This is going to be episode 79. And in this episode, we're going to unbox a Raspberry Pi. Now, you might think, what does that have to do with ham radio? Well, I will answer that in a couple of different ways. The most important to me, the most important way that I'm going to answer that is move that monitor out of the way of my Ham Radio 2.0 sign from gifts4hams.com right there. One of my sponsors, Gifts for Hams, the number 4 in the middle, gifts, the number 4hams.com, made that sign for me, and I have it displayed in the back of all my videos. I've mentioned that before, but it's always good to support your sponsors. Those lighted signs are really cool. I got another one with the call sign, with my call sign in the house. What does that have to do? What does a Raspberry Pi have to do with ham radio? Well, a number of things. I know a guy who, if any of you have ever used a hotspot for digital voice radio, DMR, D-Star, and now Yaesu System Fusion as well, you can build a hotspot out of a Raspberry Pi. Several different ways to do that. I know a guy in one of the local clubs that built an antenna rotor controller out of his Raspberry Pi. He hooked some servos to it that would go 350 degrees this direction and 350 degrees back this direction. I think it goes almost the whole 360, but not quite, something like that. And then the Raspberry Pi has a web server on it, so he can log in from his smartphone and tell it to turn left or right and rotate his antenna. I asked him if I could do an episode on that. So I'm going to be doing a lot of different episodes upcoming on what to do with the Raspberry Pi as far as amateur radio is concerned. And believe me, there are hundreds of things, there are thousands of things you can do with the Raspberry Pi overall. There are dozens, if not hundreds, of things you can do with a Raspberry Pi in amateur radio. So I wanted to do, if you watched my my Welcome to 2017 video that I posted January 2nd, that was Monday, January 2nd, if you watched that, I said I was going to be branching out and doing reviews of more technology rather than just amateur radio in 2017, and this is the first step in that effort. I'm not going to go and just do computer and technology reviews and drop amateur radio. This is the Ham Radio 2.0. That's what I'm doing. So, but this is going to be one of the new facets that I do. So tonight we're going to unbox this box. This is a Raspberry Pi. You can tell I got it from MCM Electronics. This is a Raspberry Pi Model B Pi 3. That's the newest one at the time of this recording. Model B Complete Kit. The Complete Kit comes with the Pi board, obviously. Okay, let me take a step back here. Some of you may be saying, what the heck is a Raspberry Pi? A Raspberry Pi, in the most general, shortest sense, is a computer board about yay big that has USB connections on it, HDMI connections on it, and is powered by a micro USB plug, which you can plug into your car, 12-volt adapter, or you can plug into the wall. It is a mini computer, is what it does. And normally they run a version of Debian called Debian Linux, and they call it Raspbian because it's like a toned down version of Debian. If you don't know what Linux is, most of you have probably heard of Linux. Linux is another operating system besides Windows and besides Mac, although Mac OS X is run on a Unix-based platform, so it's very similar to Linux, to a couple different versions of Linux. So a Raspberry Pi is a little mini computer about yay big that runs on Raspbian mostly. You can put Windows on it. I've read articles online about people putting Windows on it, so you can do that, and you can put one of the hundreds of other versions of Linux on it too. But Raspbian is one of the most common ones for the Raspberry Pi, and through that you can run it anywhere because it's small, portable, requires very little power. And once you get it set up and running, you don't even have to have a monitor hooked to it. You can control it remotely through a web server or through a VNC connection or through maybe, I'm going to see if I can put TeamViewer on it. And you can do pretty much anything you want to with it. So it's a mini computer. That's what it is. It's a mini computer. So somebody keeps hitting up my Google Hangouts and it's starting to annoy me, so that one. Yeah, those are my buddies in my ham radio chat. So, okay, put that over there. So that's what a Raspberry Pi is. It's a mini computer, and it'll do bunch of different stuff. So the Raspberry Pi, you can buy the board by itself, the Raspberry Pi board with nothing on it. It has a slot in the side for a micro SD card, and that's where your operating system lives and all your files live on it. If you just buy the board by itself, they're about $35 roughly. That's the picture of the board on the side there. So you can buy the board for $35, but then you don't have anything to go with it. So you buy a case for it, you can buy a micro SD card for it, power supply, micro USB power supply. This complete kit comes with all of that. Comes with an SD card adapter, which the micro SD card goes into. Power supply. It comes with an HDMI cable, and it comes with a wireless keyboard. This is the complete kit from MCM Electronics. If MCM Electronics is watching this video and you guys want to be a sponsor of my show, that'd be great. But I got this. These are about $80, $90, something like that. Retail, they're about $90. I've seen them at Hamfest. Some guys are selling these at Hamfests now. Why not, right? And you might be able to get them a little bit cheaper than that. Maybe a computer show a little bit cheaper. Maybe Amazon. I don't know what they're going for on Amazon right now. But that's that. So in this kit here, take this out. I'm going to show you what this looks like here. It's just regular box. This is my unboxing for people who want to turn away from the unboxing. Here's your HDMI cable. Here's your micro USB power supply. This is not synonymous. This is not proprietary to a Raspberry Pi. If you have a micro USB adapter for your wall wart at home or for your 12-volt power supply or for your battery or something, it'll work. It's just a micro USB connector. That's all it is. Nothing special about it. Here's the SD card with the SD card insert with the micro SD card unit. That's what we'll put the operating system on. This little case for the Raspberry Pi to go inside of. Wireless keyboard. And this is your Raspberry Pi, which I will open this up right now. It comes in a anti-static bag there. That, zoom in a little bit here, that is a Raspberry Pi. That's what that looks like. Right there. Right here you've got Ethernet port right here. If you have an original Raspberry Pi or a Pi 2, they only ran on Ethernet. They did not have wireless. This is a Pi 3, so it has a Wi-Fi board built onto it. But that's your Ethernet. You can run it via Ethernet. It's got 4 USB ports. It's got this right here is a audio port. This is your micro SD port, and then there's some other ports over here. Let's see. Yeah. There's the micro USB. That's the micro USB port right there. That's the micro SD port right there. So that's where your operating system card goes. That's where your power goes. And you can plug this thing into the truck and let it run on while you're driving down the road, and it's controlling whatever in the heck you want it to control. Connect it via Wi-Fi to your hotspot. You've got a web server built in your truck while you're on road trips. So I'm going to put this together. I've done 2 different videos on DMR hotspots. The first one was for the Blue DV board, and the second one was for the OpenSpot. The OpenSpot's probably been the most popular, but using the Raspberry Pi with the program called MMDVM host as a hotspot is one of the original hotspots that that you could use before the OpenSpot was ever available. So I'm going to put this together, and this thing fits down in this case. Might be a little bit tight. And I'm not going to mess with installing much on the We're not going to mess with the MMDVM host tonight. There we go. It's perfect like that. We're not going to mess much with the MMDVM host tonight. But I am going to that's fine right there. Yeah. That's HDMI. Yeah, that's right. The port that I pointed to a minute ago that I said was that micro SD port. That's your HDMI port. I wasn't looking at it. That's your HDMI port. Micro USB for power. Micro SD is in the back for the SD card in the operating system. So, let's see. Jimp. Is that? Yeah, okay. So that'll go. Nope. Wonder how that goes in there. Oh, right here, the little screws. There's little screws in here that'll screw this board. Yeah. Okay, so there's four holes in the board that screw it down into the bottom of this case, and then this cover goes on top of the case, and there's 4 more screws here that hold the case together. So we're going to put that together. I've downloaded the KB5 RAB image, and I'm just going to use it as an example of how to load an image onto the micro SD card, put it into the Raspberry Pi, and boot it up and show you what it looks like. That's about all we're going to do tonight. Later episodes, I'm going to show different things you can do with that image once it's set up and running. Probably the most important, probably the first one I'm going to do is the MD380 tools. If you don't know what MD380 tools is, if you have an MD380, a very short explanation of it is that it's hacked firmware to load on your MD380, which allows you to load the entire database, DMR mark database of contacts into your radio. And at last count, there was somewhere in the neighborhood of 53,000 contacts, so it loads them all. Puts them all in there. Every one of them. And then as time progresses, you'll have to reload that contact list again because there's new subscriber IDs coming online every day. But as of today, it'll load the contact list and you'll have everybody in the DMR mark database in your MD380, and it'll come up. And when someone's talking, it comes up and it says their call sign, their name, their location, what talk group they're talking on, and several other things. So we're not going to do that in this episode, but that's another episode I have upcoming. So let's I'm going to put together this Raspberry Pi. I'm going to show you guys some screenshots of what to do with downloading the image, loading the image. Basically, in a nutshell, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the SD card, plug it into my Windows machine, load the image onto, format the SD card, load the image onto it, take the SD card out of the Windows box, plug it in here, and boot this sucker up, and unplug it into that monitor. So get ready. If you haven't messed with the Raspberry Pi, if you've heard about Raspberry Pis, and you're like, I don't know what the heck to do with this thing, here's some very basic instructions on what to do with it. If you're a Raspberry Pi expert, then you probably know more than I do, so your comments are welcome at the bottom of this video. Go to hamradio2.com, and you will see all my episodes. This will be episode 79, so I'm looking forward to breaking 80 next week. And feel free to comment on the YouTube video. Feel free to comment on the blog post at hamradio2.com. And let me know what you think about this episode. Thanks for watching, guys. Let's take a look at this video for an upcoming event. Hey, folks. This is Jason at Ham Radio 2.0. I'd like to invite you to come see me at the Orlando Hamcation Booth 217 on February 10th and 11th of this year. This will be my first time to attend the Hamcation, and I'm looking very forward to it. I'm planning to have a booth set up to promote this video series with flyers and t-shirts from the series, and I want to be doing interviews of people who come by the booth. This is a new venture for me to promote the video series from a booth inside of a Hamfest. I have 2 more events planned this year for the same type of promotion, one at the Houston Hamfest and one in Claremore, Oklahoma for the Green Country Hamfest. But the Orlando Hamcation will be the first one of the year, and I'm hoping you can make it out to the show and come see me at booth 217. 73, thank you for watching and your support of this series, and I hope to see you in Orlando. All right, a few updates here. I mentioned earlier about loading an image onto the micro SD card. We're going to do that next episode, and the reason for that is because I didn't read the box on this complete kit. Raspberry Pi 3 complete kit comes with the SD card operating. It says with operating system right here. So the SD, which makes sense, really. I mean, it should come with some sort of operating system. So it comes with an operating system called Noobs. Noobs, which is catchy. Noobs. So, as in newbies. It's a Raspbian version of Raspbian. And I've got it all hooked up here. You can see the box right here. This is the Raspberry Pi inside of the case. This is the little USB keyboard that comes with it. It's got a trackpad on the side here. It's powered by USB. This cable right here, you can plug the end of this cable, this USB cable, into any power source. And then there's a little dongle. Wireless dongle right here in the keyboard that you plug into the USB of your computer. So I've got both the power and the dongle plugged into the Raspberry Pi right now, but I could plug the power into the wall outlet or to another computer or somewhere else if I wanted to. It's all powered here. Had to change out my monitor. The other monitor I have didn't have a HDMI port on it, so it was one of my older monitors that I had forgotten that I didn't have HDMI. But so I'm going to go ahead and boot this up. Boom, and this is what it looks like here. Zoom in a bit. Now this is this, and I wanted to show you guys what it looks like straight out of the box. Okay, now if you buy a Raspberry Pi from another vendor, if you buy the board by itself and then buy a blank SD card, you're gonna have to load your own image on it. We're gonna do that next week. We're gonna do that next week, and I'm gonna show you the MD380 tools next week. That'll be episode 80. Let's see, that is, oh yeah, that's on. Sometimes you've got to, there we go. Okay, I had to wake the keyboard up. So, you know, this one came preloaded with the NOOBS Noobs operating system. You can see the Raspberry Pi symbol there. It looks like a standard Linux image. You've got your menu up there at the top. Programming comes with several different applications in there. Internet. You know what? Let me see if I can connect this to the internet. I haven't done that yet. It says Ethernet. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Get my let me log into my wireless here. Okay. And now we should be connecting. Again, the Raspberry Pi 3 has Wi-Fi card built into it. Previous Raspberry Pis, the original one, and the Pi 2, you had to put a Wi-Fi dongle in one of the USB ports. But Pi 3 has it on board, so don't have to worry about that. Come back over here. Wolf RAM, I don't know what that is. Looks like a terminal. No, it's not a terminal. Oh, that's the terminal right there. I don't know what Wolf RAM is. I'd have to look it up. It's nothing I care to use. This is the terminal. Yep. Pi at Raspberry Pi. Now, if you notice, if you're a Linux user, one thing you might have noticed is it logged right in. I didn't enter a username and password. It's coming up to a $ prompt, which means I'm not root user. If I was root user, it'd be coming up to a # prompt. It comes up as, yeah, Pi at Raspberry Pi. So my home directory is home/Pi. So that's the, I could go in and create users. I could go in and set, I could go in and set, I guess I could set root as I don't know if I could set in this specific operating system. I don't know what the root password is. I'd have to look that up. You can probably find that online. For right now, I don't really care. But this is your Raspberry Pi. So it's got, I'm going to find the internet here. Epiphany web browser. Let's see if there's something else on it. No, there's nothing else on it. But here's what I'm going to do. I think that, yeah, this should be Debian based. Let's and look for some sort of application manager. And I'm not used to the version of Debian I've worked with most commonly is Ubuntu. And this looks vaguely, very, very vaguely like Ubuntu. Really, the only way it looks like Ubuntu is that the menu's in the same place. Other than that, it doesn't really look anything like Ubuntu. Here's Add Remove Software. Here we go. So I'm going to go in here and see if I can add. Yeah, there we go. Now, you've got your software packages on here where you can go and you can do... let me see if I can... I don't know if I can run a sudo command. Let's try this. Okay. Okay. I have sudo privileges. The Pi user has sudo privileges. I didn't even have to enter a password. So I run sudo space apt-get space update. And I don't know how old this image is. I bought this kit. It's probably been about 3 months since I bought this kit. So the version of the OS that was preloaded on the SD card, on the micro SD card, is a few months old. So there's been some updates and patches come out since then. So I ran this to update it to the latest version, and that's what it's doing right now. So you can do sudo is sudo. It's commonly pronounced sudo. It's actually sudo, and it means super user do, like what a super user can do. Like super user do this is what sudo means. So it comes up like that. Okay, so now it's updated. And now I can go... let's see. Has no installation candidate. Okay. Maybe there's not a version of Firefox. I just really want to show you guys how to load something. You can do it from command line, or you can do it from the application manager. Let's see. Mozilla Firefox web browser right there. Doom. Okay. Apply. Installing packages. Okay, now it's asking for a password. I don't know what the password is. Again, it may be in the documentation that came with a... oh, this one right here. It came with a... it's probably a standard password if you just were to Google it. If you were to Google Raspberry Pi NOOBS operating system root password, you'd probably be able to find it that way. In fact, I guess I can use this other web browser to do that. Cancel that. Let's go here, because I do have an internet connection. It's probably in this documentation somewhere. This is actually the box that the Pi board came in. This is not the box that the preloaded operating system SD card came in. So let's try this. Okay, so I just Googled Raspberry Pi noobs root password. There's a bunch of topics that come up. And it's saying the first result said, yeah, you don't need a password to shut down reboot. True. Okay, so if Raspbian, there is no root root password as such. The user Pi, and default password is Raspberry, all lowercase, which you can and should change post-install, obviously. Okay. Let's try that. Let's try to install... I'm going to try to install Firefox. Move the mic a little bit over like that. Is this still good? Yes, that's still good. Okay. Yeah, you guys can see that. It's not full screen. You see my face over there on the side of the screen, but you can see the... Let's see. Let's try to go... And it comes up and asks for a password. We're going to enter the... Raspberry. Okay, it accepted that, so the default password is Raspberry. Default username is Pi, just Pi. And it has, of course, privileges to shut down and reboot the computer and whatnot. Which you on a normal Linux system, if your user account doesn't have certain privileges, you won't be able to reboot the machine. Because they assume that you don't need to be doing that unless you're an administrator. But Linux is so cool. I love Linux. I took a couple of Red Hat Linux classes in 2015, and man, you can do freaking anything with Linux. It's really, really cool. It's easy to use. It's lightweight. It doesn't require a lot of memory, and kind of once you get the hang of it, it's really fun OS to learn. So Raspbian I've never used, but as you can see, I did a couple of command lines and I found the add remove software. And the reason I knew how to do all that is because I'm familiar with Ubuntu Linux, which is also Debian based. Debian is an underlying layer of Linux. You've got Red Hat based, you've got SUSE based, you've got Debian based, you've got a few others, So I know that Raspbian is another Debian-based OS similar to Ubuntu. So a lot of the same commands work. A lot of the same applications are available. Okay, let's see. So it says that it installed Firefox. See if it put it in. Yeah, and it put it in my drop-down menu there. So I'm going to launch Firefox. There it is right there. I'm not sure how to drag with this keyboard, so but that's it. That's Firefox. So I can sign in now. I've got Firefox installed, and I can install, just about anything else I want to. So that's really cool. Let's see, update. Info. No, I don't want that. Anyway, that is the basic install. If you get a Raspberry Pi complete kit from MCM Electronics, this is what it's going to look like. If you buy a kit from anywhere else, Noobs is a pretty. I googled it a little bit after I shot the first part of the video, and then I learned that there was already a preloaded OS on that SD card. I googled it a little bit, and I found that that's a pretty common OS. It's not one that I've ever used, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. Because I've never used a Raspberry Pi before. I said that at the beginning of the video. I've never actually used a Raspberry Pi. I've used Linux in certain environments, but I've never used a Raspberry Pi. So this is going to be the first episode in a series of episodes that are going to deal with Raspberry Pi, everything we can do with them. I'm going to end up building a node. I'm going to build an All-Star node. I'm going to build an Echolink IRLP node. I'm going to build. We're going to do next week. We're going to look at the MD380 tools, and we're going to load MD380 tools onto a new radio. We're going to do an update with it. I've got MD380 tools loaded onto my MD390, and you can do that. So it doesn't have to be a 380 because, as I've said before in previous episodes, the MD380 and the MD390 are the exact same radio internally. The only difference is the hard shell case on the MD390 that's supposed to be waterproof, although I don't suggest dropping it into water. Not into a bucket of water or into a lake anyway. Getting it rained on is okay. I've gotten mine rained on. I haven't had any problems with it. But the MD380, MD390 is the same radio. There's, depending on what firmware version, what hardware and firmware version you've got running, it should work. And there's some older units that it may not work on, but the newer stuff it should all work on. If you bought your radios after, I think it was April. I think it was either April or August of 2016 when they changed it. I'll have to go back and look at that. But in fact, it should be right here. Pull up that website and go to downloads. Hey, there's me. And scroll down. Let's see. It is July. I was wrong on both accounts. It's July of 2016. If you have a radio that you purchased before July of 2016, it takes a certain version of firmware. If it's after July 2016, it's another version of firmware. So if you've got one of the newer radios after July of 2016, then you should be good to go. But so we're gonna look at that next week. How to load MD380 tools onto a Raspberry Pi. There we go. The bright screen back there was making it really dark in the foreground. So thanks for watching, guys. I'm really excited to see what we can do with Raspberry Pi as far as amateur radio goes, and looking forward to getting some cool new stuff set up with it. I went to before we shut down here, I went to a local meetup. If you've heard of the application on your phone called Meetup, you can find meetups for any subject you want. There's 2 or 3 of the ham radio clubs in my area that use Meetup to just let the general public know and the club members know about monthly meetings or meetups or whatever. Anyway, I joined a meetup 2 or 3 months ago for local Dallas-Fort Worth area podcasters. And it includes video podcasters. If you don't know, I do extract all the audio from these videos and I put them up on a podcasting host website called Spreaker, Spreaker. If you go to my website, hamradio2.com, up at the top right corner, you can click on the RSS feed, and it'll show you all of the audio link feeds. You can listen to it from there. You can download it from there, audio only. You can go to Spreaker and listen to it, or it's in iTunes. I have it piped to iTunes, and that's how most people get to it. Most people get to it through iTunes. So I went to a podcasters meetup last week, and they were talking about live streaming on Facebook. And that's something I'm going to start doing more of. I created a new, a lot of you know that I have a Facebook group. There's probably about 500-ish people in it right now, and it's a discussion group to go in there, and I post all my new videos in there, and people can discuss it and talk about it and whatnot, ask questions. I started a Facebook page just this last week. If you go to facebook.com/hamradio2, you can see my page. You can go like my page. And apparently there's a way where you can go in there and you can record Facebook, or you can do live stream from your page as the page name. If I did a live stream from my group, then the page is open to everyone. The group I have is a closed group, although anyone can join. I have to approve them. And I've never disallowed anyone to join it, but that keeps the element of if someone comes in there and starts causing trouble, I can kick them out. I've never had to do that. Hope I never do. But on the page, it's open to the public. Anybody can go like the page, and then I can stream a live video from the page as the page and not have to do it as myself, which I would have to do it as myself from the group. So I created a page, and it's just one other way to get my video series out in front of people so that they know about it. So go like my page. Go to facebook.com or go to fb.me, which is the shortened URL for Facebook. FB like Facebook.me/hamradio2. And you can find my Facebook page. Go like my page. I'm going to be shooting some live streaming videos. Going to do a live streaming video from Orlando Hamcation. This episode today is premiering on Monday, February 6th. Hamcation is next weekend. I've never been to Hamcation before. Looking forward to going and meeting some people. Gary Pierce from Ham Radio Now, he and I are going to meet up and maybe do a couple of videos together. So you might see an interview with him and me on his show, or him on this show, or vice versa, whichever. Maybe both. And so looking forward to that. Looking forward to recording a few forums out there, and should be a really good show. But I will be doing a little bit of live streaming from there, and more and more live streaming on Facebook upcoming. Most of the time I'll probably take the live stream off of Facebook once it's done and put it in an episode somewhere later on YouTube. This show is a YouTube show. I'm not changing that, but I think live streaming on Facebook is a good way to promote this show and just direct people and say, Ham Radio 2.0, go to hamradio2.com, catch all my YouTube episodes, etc., etc. So 73 guys, thanks for watching. If you have any suggestions for Raspberry Pi projects for upcoming episodes, I'd love to hear them. Go to hamradio2.com, find episode 79, that's this episode here, and post some comments at the bottom. 73, see you next time.